I thought the worst thing my husband could do was cheat on me. But the night I discovered who was really hunting for the phone he left behind, I realized I hadn't married a liar. I had married a danger I never truly knew. I always thought the hardest sound in a marriage was silence. But I was wrong. The hardest sound is the one your phone makes when it breaks your heart. It started on an ordinary Wednesday evening, 8:47 p.m. My husband, Mark, sent me a text mark, working late. Don't wait up. Nothing unusual. He'd been working late for 3 weeks now. Except 4 nights ago, when he came home, he smelled like a perfume I didn't own. 2 nights ago, he slipped his phone into his pocket the moment I walked in. And yesterday, he jumped when I touched his shoulder from behind. Still, I told myself not to assume, not to believe the ache building in my chest. But that night, my heart already knew. I sat on the couch, staring at his message, still typing a reply, still deciding what to pretend to feel, until my phone buzzed again. A second message from him, but not a text, a location update. Accidental, unintentional. And the moment I tapped it open, my blood ran cold. Mark wasn't at his office, not even close. He was at a small residential street on the other side of town, a place we'd never been together, a place he had no reason to be. My hands trembled. My breath caught. I zoomed in. There were only 3 houses on that tiny street, and only one of them had its lights on. House number 14. My heart hammered so loudly I could hear it in my chest. I whispered into the empty room, "Who lives there?" I didn't know the answer. But a part of me, the part that had been ignored, dismissed, gaslit for months, whispered the truth I didn't want to hear. Someone you're not supposed to know about. I grabbed my coat, my keys, my phone. I didn't breathe. I just moved. The drive felt endless and instant at the same time. My whole body felt both frozen and on fire. And the entire drive, his accidental location pin glowed on my screen like a confession. When I turned onto the quiet street, my headlights illuminated the house. A car was in the driveway. Mark's car, my husband's car, right there. At another woman's home, I pulled over. My fingers were ice. My heart was a storm. For a moment, I couldn't open the door. I just sat there, gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. Was this real? Was I really here? Was I really about to walk up to a stranger's house and see what had become of my marriage? I closed my eyes. For 12 years, I had loved this man, cooked for him, waited for him, believed every lie he ever told me about being tired and stressed and overworked. And now I was sitting in front of the truth he forgot to hide. A truth so careless, so stupid, so cruel it felt like betrayal and insult in the same breath. I finally opened the car door. The night was cold, still, almost too quiet. I walked toward the house slowly, every step feeling heavier than the last. And then a shadow moved behind the curtains. Not one, two figures, one tall, one smaller. I froze. Then I heard it. A laugh. A woman's laugh, soft, familiar, intimate. Then Mark's voice, my husband's voice, laughing back. My chest tightened like someone had wrapped a fist around my ribs and squeezed. I stepped closer. The curtains shifted, and for 1 second, just one tragic, horrifying second, I saw them clearly. Mark standing behind a young woman, his hands around her waist, his chin on her shoulder, like she belonged to him, like I never existed, like our marriage was just a story he'd already stopped reading. I stumbled back, my breath shattered. 12 years of my life replaced with someone else's smile. I took another step backward. A twig snapped under my foot, and inside of Mark's head jerked toward the window. His eyes met mine, shock, guilt, fear, all in one instant. The woman turned too. She wasn't scared. She wasn't embarrassed. She was smiling at me, like she had won something, like she had taken something that wasn't even a fight to take. My throat tightened. My vision blurred. Mark rushed toward the door. I didn't stay to hear his excuses. I didn't need to. The truth was already standing there in front of me, in that window, with his hands wrapped around someone who wasn't me. I turned and walked back to my car. My heart wasn't breaking. It was burning. And for the first time in months, maybe years, I felt something new. Something sharp. Something strong. Not weakness. Not confusion. Not fear. Purpose. He thought I came here to catch him. He had no idea I came here to end him. I didn't remember turning on the engine. I didn't remember checking the mirror or fastening my seatbelt or even breathing. All I knew was that my entire body felt distant, like someone else was driving my car, someone stronger, someone who wasn't going to cry this time. But before I could pull away, Mark ran out of the house, not walking, running, like a man terrified of losing control. He shouted my name, his voice cracking through the cold night air. Wait, Auntie. I locked the doors immediately. His hand slapped against the window. I flinched. His face was red, desperate, eyes wide like he had been caught stealing oxygen. PLES. It's not what you think. Of all the sentences in the world, he chose the most pathetic one. I stared at him through the glass, my hands trembling, but my heart suddenly calm. For the first time in months, I didn't feel confused. I didn't feel stupid. I didn't feel paranoid. I felt clear. I rolled the window down just enough for my words to escape. One question, I whispered. Who is she? He froze. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. He was searching for a lie that didn't exist. Just tell me, I said softly. Who is she? He swallowed hard. She's someone from work. A weak lie. A stupid lie. I shook my head. I saw her. I saw your hands on her. That wasn't work. He shut his eyes like he was trying to erase what I witnessed. Let me explain. He begged. Please. Just get out of the car. Let's talk. No. My voice surprised even me. It wasn't shaking. It wasn't small. It was solid. I'm done talking. His breath hitched. Done? What does that mean? I finally looked at him, really looked at him. This man, who once held me like his whole world, now looked like a stranger pounding on a window he used to have the keys to. It means, I said quietly, that tonight ended everything. He slammed his fist on the roof of my car. I jumped. Then a sound came from the porch. Her, the woman. She leaned against the doorframe with her arms crossed and a smug little smile, the kind meant to burn. She was younger, much younger. Pretty in that effortless, careless way youth often is. She called out, Mark, are you coming back inside? It's cold, cold. The word twisted in my chest, slicing through ribs. Mark flinched and spun toward her. Go inside, he snapped. Her smile widened like she was enjoying this. No, she said. I want to hear what you tell her. Tell me. Tell me what exactly? That she wasn't important. That I was imagining things. That it was a mistake. I rolled the window down a little further. Tell me the truth, Mark, I said. For once, he looked trapped between the woman he betrayed me for and the wife he destroyed. He rubbed his face with both hands, pacing, panicking. Then finally, he exhaled sharply. Okay, he said. Fine. You want the truth. We've been seeing each other for 3 months. My stomach dropped. 3 months. 3 months of lies. 3 months of working late. 3 months of me questioning myself instead of him. And before you start making me the villain, he added, you haven't exactly been the perfect wife. My breath caught. He was really going to blame me for once. I whispered, please don't do this. Don't twist it. Don't make it my fault. He stepped closer, his voice rising. Well, maybe if you didn't nag me or interrogate me or act like my mother, I wouldn't have needed someone who actually listens. I laughed. A short, painful laugh that felt like breaking glass. That's why you hit me. He froze. The woman on the porch straightened. You chatier, she said loudly. Mark spun around. Shut up. I spoke again, louder this time. That's why you pushed me, grabbed me, left bruises on my arm. Because I asked too many questions. His face went pale. He knew the walls were closing in now. That was different. He stammered. You made me mad. You wasn't supposed to bring that up. Oh, I whispered. I wasn't supposed to bring up the time my husband hurt me. The woman on the porch took a step forward. You didn't tell me that part, she said to him, voice sharp. Mark snapped, stay out of it. But she didn't, because she finally realized what I had known for months. Mark didn't just cheat. He lied. He manipulated. He hurt. And he hid. I looked at her. What did he tell you about me? She hesitated. Then he said you were controlling, that you didn't care about him, that you were cold, me. The woman who spent years carrying him through job losses, depression, sickness, debt. I inhaled shakily. Well, I said softly, now you know what he does when he feels uncared for. Her smile faltered. She looked at Mark differently now, afraid, even. Is that true? She whispered to him. Did you actually hit her? Mark's jaw clenched. He turned to face me, eyes burning. This is exactly why I didn't tell you. He spat. You twist everything? You make me into... I don't have to twist anything, I said. You're doing that yourself. His face turned red, not with guilt, but with rage. G.E. told, off T-H-E-K! He screamed. I-G-H-T, no! I didn't move. The woman stepped back, startled. I kept my eyes on him. No. This is my marriage, he yelled, pounding the window again. We fix this, no. We don't fix anything, I said calmly. Not anymore. He glared at me, hate filling the space where love used to live. Then he whispered something I will never forget. You're not leaving me. You never leave. A chill ran down my spine because the way he said it wasn't a plea. It was a threat. I locked eyes with him and whispered, watch me. I put the car in reverse. He pounded on the hood. The woman shouted. Neighbors turned their lights on. And I drove away, not from a husband, but from a man I finally saw clearly. And the truth, I wasn't done with him. Not even close. Because cheating was one thing. But the secret she was hiding, the one I didn't know about yet, that was going to destroy them both. The drive home should have felt like freedom. But instead, it felt like drowning. The city lights blurred past me. My hands shaking on the steering wheel, my heart thundering against my ribs so loudly I could barely think. Every breath hurt, every memory stabbed, every lie echoed, and every bruise, old and fading, felt like it was burning fresh on my skin. When I finally pulled into our driveway, I didn't get out right away. I just sat there, gripping the wheel, staring at the house I once called safe, a place he had turned into a cage without bars, a place I never even realized I needed to escape. I finally stepped out, my legs weak but moving, my mind foggy but determined. I walked inside slowly, almost expecting him to be behind me. He wasn't. He was probably still at that woman's house, explaining, lying, denying, manipulating, controlling. The same routine he had used on me for years. I closed the door behind me and leaned against it. The quiet was heavy, like the walls knew, like the air itself was holding the truth with me. I walked into the kitchen and turned on the light. And that's when I noticed it. The envelope, sitting right there on the counter. My name written on the front, not in Mark's handwriting, in someone else's. Someone delicate, someone feminine. My stomach twisted. I picked it up with trembling fingers. Inside was a folded piece of paper and a photograph. I looked at the picture first, and the world around me seemed to tilt. It was Mark, with the same woman I saw tonight. Only this wasn't from tonight. This picture was taken weeks ago, in daylight, at a cafe, holding her hand across the table. He looked happy, relaxed, free. A version of him I hadn't seen in years. A version he never allowed me to see. My throat closed. I turned to the note. The handwriting was small, neat, and heartbreaking. You deserve to know the truth. He promised me the same things he promised you. I didn't know about you until last week. I thought you had left him. He said you were unstable. He said you were violent. He said you threatened him. He said you were dangerous. He lies to both of us. He hurts both of us. And he will do it again. It was signed, L. My grip loosened. The note slipped to the floor. My mind raced. The woman at the house tonight, her name started with L. She wasn't the villain I thought she was. She was another victim, another person Mark used, another person he lied to, another person he twisted reality for. He told her I was violent. Violent? Me? The woman who cried quietly in bathrooms so he wouldn't get irritated. The woman who apologized for things I didn't do, just to keep peace. The woman who shrank so small inside herself that she barely recognized her own reflection anymore. Violent. I laughed, a broken, bitter sound. Then something inside me shifted, snapped, not in anger, in clarity, in truth. I wasn't the weak one. He was. And the more I read her letter, the more something icy and powerful began rising in me. If she wrote this, if she warned me, then where was she now? Why wasn't she at that house anymore? And why did she look so confident when she smiled at me tonight? Almost like she knew something I didn't. I grabbed my phone. There was one person I hadn't spoken to in months. Not because I didn't want to, but because Mark made sure of it. My sister, Tessa. I dialed her number. She answered on the second ring. Hello? The moment I heard her voice, my breath broke. Tess? I whisper, Linz. Then, oh my God. Are you crying? What happened? Are you safe? Where's Mark? Did he do something? Do I need to come get you? A flood of words. Frantic, protective, fierce. Everything I hadn't felt in so long. I finally exhaled. No, he's not here. I'm safe. I'm done, Tess. I'm really done. Her voice softened instantly. I'm coming over. Right now. She lived 25 minutes away. She arrived in 12. She burst into the house like she was ready to fight an army for me. Her eyes scanned me. Not just my face, but my arms, my posture, my breath, looking for injuries, looking for truth, looking for signs I had been hiding for too long. Tess, I whispered, he's been seeing someone. Her jaw clenched. I know. I blinked. What? She took my hands gently. I found out 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks? Why didn't you tell me? She swallowed hard. I tried, but every time I called, he answered. He said you were sleeping, or busy, or upset, or didn't want to talk. My stomach lurched. He had been blocking my calls, filtering my messages, trapping me without walls. How long? I whispered. How long has he been doing this? Tessa looked away, grief in her eyes. A long time. My knees went weak. She helped me sit. I didn't push harder because I knew your heart, she said softly. And I knew if I told you at the wrong moment, he'd destroy you, emotionally, or worse. I stared at her. The room spun. Tess, he hit me. Her breath froze. What? I pulled back my sleeve. The fading bruise stared back at her. She inhaled sharply, her voice shaking with rage. I swear to God I will. No, I interrupted. Not yet. Not yet. Are you insane? He's dangerous. I know, I whispered. But I'm not finished. Tessa looked at me like she didn't recognize me. Not because I was broken, but because I wasn't anymore. There was steel in my voice, fire in my spine, clarity in my mind. You're scaring me, she said quietly. I shook my head. I'm scaring him. Before she could respond, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. 3 words. 3 cold, chilling words. You need to know. Attached was a video. I tapped it open slowly. Tessa leaned closer. And when the video started playing, her hand flew to her mouth. My heart stopped. And my world shattered again. A shaky frame, dim lighting, a room I didn't recognize at first. Then the camera adjusted. It was Mark at the woman's house, house number 14. He was pacing the room, running his hand through his hair, angry, restless, the version of him I had seen too many times, the version he saved only for me. But he wasn't alone. The woman, Elle, was sitting on the couch, arms crossed, back straight, eyes cold. She wasn't smiling this time. She wasn't soft or flirtatious or sweet like she had looked earlier in the window. She looked done, fed up. And then I realized she was secretly recording him. Mark didn't know. My heart pounded as I leaned closer, the phone trembling in my hands. He stopped pacing, turned to her sharply. You ruined everything tonight? He snapped. She wasn't supposed to SEE us. The woman didn't move. She stared him down with a calmness that almost scared me. Mark, she said, you ruined everything long before she came. He scoffed. Oh, please. Don't act innocent. You knew what this was. What was it? She asked softly. Tell me. A distraction, he exploded. I needed someone who wasn't nagging me every second of the day. Someone who didn't make me feel trapped. Trapped. The word hit me like a slap. He used to say that at home too, whenever I asked a simple question, whenever I needed help, whenever I cried. You're suffocating me. You make me feel trapped. You ruin everything. Always me. Every time. The woman stood now. You said you loved me, she whispered. Was that a lie too? Mark rolled his eyes. Don't be dramatic. And your wife? She continued. Does she know the truth? He stiffened. What truth? The woman tilted her head slightly, the camera catching every detail of Mark's face. That you married her for money. My blood froze. My breath stopped entirely. Tessa gasped next to me. What? Mark laughed. A short, cruel laugh that didn't match his expression. She doesn't AV money, he said. Her parents barely left her anything. That's not what you told me, the woman replied. You said she had a trust fund. You said she inherited land. You said she had accounts she didn't even use. My hands shook violently. My parents DI'd leave land. A small property outside town. Mark convinced me years ago to put it in HI's name temporarily for tax reasons. My stomach turned. He lied to HER about it too. Mark got closer to her, angry again. I told you that to make you understand she'd be fine without me. She wouldn't suffer. It was just easier. So you lied again? He glared at her. So what? Everyone lies. My chest tightened painfully. Then the woman said something that made the ground tilt beneath me. You told me she hit YOU. Tessa's eyes widened. Oh my God. Mark stiffened. She gets emotional. She throws things. What? I had never thrown anything in my life. I had barely raised my voice. And he told this woman that I was violent. He turned Emmy into the abuser. The woman stepped forward, voice low. You need help, Mark. You twist every story to make yourself the victim. His jaw clenched. He grabbed her arm. My stomach dropped. I knew that grip. The grip that bruised me. The grip that made me hide sleeveless clothes. The grip that he swore didn't happen. Don't you EVR? He growled. Talk to me like that. She yanked her arm back. And don't YOU ever touch me again. She snapped. I'm not your wife. I won't protect you. My heart cracked open. She wasn't the enemy. She was another survivor. Mark moved closer, lowering his voice. You listen to me, he hissed. If she tries to expose me, YOU will back me up. You will say she's unstable, that she made everything up, that you saw her hit me. My hands flew to my mouth. He planned this. He had a whole story prepared, a whole manipulation. He wanted HR to lie for him. She won't, the woman said flatly. I'm not covering for you. You while, he snarled, if you want to stay safe. Safe. The word hit me like a blade. He had threatened her too. He took a step toward her. She stepped back. Then he grabbed a glass from the table and threw it against the wall beside her. It shattered. She jumped, terrified. I felt tears spill over. This wasn't just cheating. This wasn't just betrayal. This was violence, control, abuse. And he didn't reserve it just for me. The woman shouted, Get out! She told. But Mark didn't. He stormed toward her again. She grabbed something off the table, her phone, and pointed it at him. I recorded everything, she warned. Every word. Mark stopped dead. He froze, breathing hard. What did you say? I have proof you lied, she said. That you threatened. That you cheated. That you're dangerous? Delete it, he growled. No. He lunged toward her. The video shook wildly. The sound got chaotic. Her scream echoed. Something crashed. Then the video cut off. The screen went black. Silence swallowed the room. Tessa clapped a hand over her mouth. Oh my God, oh my God. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. The truth hit me in waves. He wasn't just unfaithful. He wasn't just manipulative. He was dangerous. He had lied to her about me. He had lied to me about her. He had lied to both of us about everything. And she recorded him. I stared up into her. I stared at the phone, heart racing. Then another message appeared. He's coming to you next. My blood turned to ice. Tessa grabbed my arm. We need to call the police, GHT, Nanobu. But before she could dial, there was a loud knock at the door. 3 slow, heavy, deliberate knocks. My entire body froze. Tessa whispered, voice trembling, That's him. The knocks echoed through the house like thunder. 3 slow, heavy hits. The kind that weren't asking for permission. They were announcing a threat. Tessa and I froze in the living room, both of us staring at the front door like it was alive. My heart hammered so hard I felt it in my throat. My skin prickled. My mind screamed. He's here. He's actually here. Tessa whispered, do not move. But it was already too late. Another knock came. this time louder, harder, impatient. Bang, bang. I flinched. His voice followed, low, controlled, chilling in a way I had never heard before. Open the door. Tessa's eyes widened. She mouthed silently, call 911. I tried. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. Before I could dial, another message buzzed onto the screen. Unknown number. D-owned to open it. The timing was terrifying. Whoever sent this message, they knew what was happening. Right now, in real time. Tessa grabbed my arm, pulling me backward. Kitchen, she whispered. Quiet, move. We stepped away from the living room, careful not to make the wooden floor creak. But Mark heard something. His voice sharpened. I know you're inside. My breath caught. Tessa mouthed. Go. And we ducked into the kitchen. But the phone buzzed again. Another message. He's angry. He knows the video exists. Tessa reached over my shoulder and whispered, it's her. The girl. She's helping you. Before I could react, we heard the sound that made my blood turn to ice, the front door handle rattling. He was trying to open it. When it didn't budge, he slammed his palm against it. OPN. THE. Dior. Tessa's breathing quickened. We need to call? But before she could finish, my phone buzzed AGIN. A third message. He has a spare key. My stomach dropped. A spare key? For my own house? Of course he did. He controlled everything else. Why not this too? I looked at Tessa with pure fear in my eyes. He can get in. I whispered. How? She hissed. He hid a key somewhere. I don't know where. A click echoed from the front door. Then another. Metal turning. The lock shifting. Tessa grabbed a knife from the kitchen drawer. A large one. Her voice was barely a breath. He's coming in. My legs shook so hard, I thought I'd collapse. And then the door opened. Slowly, purposefully. His silhouette filled the doorway, tall, dark, heavy with rage. He stepped inside and closed the door behind him. He didn't shout now. He didn't pound anything. He was calm, terrifyingly calm. That was worse than the yelling. The quiet was a predator. I peeked around the kitchen doorway, just enough to see him. He was scanning the living room, his breath steady, his fists clenched. Where are you? He said softly. Tessa pulled me back. Stay behind me, she whispered. He's not touching you again. Another step, another breath, his shoes against the floor. Then he spoke again, quietly, almost conversationally. You saw what you weren't supposed to see. My heart tightened. Tessa whispered, call 911 now. I tried again, hands trembling. But when I pressed the screen, nothing happened. No dial. No sound. No signal. What the? I whispered. Tessa looked at her phone. No signal on hers either. She swore under her breath. He jammed them. She whispered. He blocked the signal. My mouth fell open. How would he know how to? But I already knew the answer. Mark always talked about tools at work. He was in security solutions. He knew tech better than anyone I knew. He knew how to block signals, disable networks, cut access. He planned this. He wasn't here to talk. He wasn't here to apologize. He was here to control the narrative. Just like always. Just like the video. He wanted to silence me before the truth spread. Tessa pulled me toward the back door, but a floorboard creaked beneath us. Mark stopped moving. Slowly his head turned toward the kitchen. Tessa, he said calmly, I know you're here too. I saw your car outside. She froze. I'm not here to hurt anyone, he lied. Let's just talk. He always said that before he exploded. He took one step toward the kitchen doorway. Tessa gripped the knife tighter. He took another step.
Come on.
He whispered. Open the door. Tessa whispered in my ear. When he reaches the corner, Rayam. But before she could finish, my phone buzzed again. A fourth message. He brought something with him. Oh God. My pulse skyrocketed. What did he bring? I whispered. Before I could read more, Mark's voice slid through the darkness. You know, I really didn't want it to go this way. I felt sick, the way he said it, like he had rehearsed it. You two made it difficult, he said. But I didn't want to take this route. But you left me no choice. Tessa whispered, now. Ron, we lunged for the back door, but Mark reached the kitchen entrance at the exact same time. He grabbed the door frame. I froze mid-step. Tessa lifted the knife. Mark's eyes locked on it. He didn't flinch. He just smirked. A slow, chilling smirk that curled into something evil. You think you can stop me? Tessa stepped in front of me, voice shaking but strong. Try me? He laughed, a low, dark sound that made my stomach twist. I'm not here for you, he said coldly. Move. No. His jaw tightened. Then he reached into his jacket. My breath stopped. Tessa sucked in a sharp breath. He pulled out, not a gun, not a knife, but something worse. A black electronic device the size of his palm. A signal blocker. He held it up like a trophy. This, he whispered, means no calls, no police, no help. My knees nearly buckled. Tessa whispered, he planned everything. Mark stepped closer. And now, he said, we're going to talk like a family. That's when the front door slammed open, hard, violent. Mark spun around. Tessa gasped. I felt my heart leap into my throat. Someone else had entered the house. And the voice that followed made Mark's jaw drop. Get away from her. Get away from her. The voice was sharp, cold, familiar, but not Mark's. Mark turned toward the hallway, eyes narrowing, shoulders tensing. Tessa and I stared from behind the kitchen counter, breath frozen, hearts pounding. A tall figure stepped inside the living room. It was the woman, the same woman from the house, the same woman he cheated with, the same woman he lied to. Elle. She wasn't smiling now. She wasn't soft. She wasn't a victim anymore. She was furious. She shut the door behind her with a sharp slam that echoed through the house. Mark's voice cracked. What the hell are you doing here? Elle walked forward with steady, fearless steps. She held her phone in one hand, the screen still recording. I told you, she said in a low voice. I'm done protecting you. Mark stiffened, jaw clenching. You don't know what you're doing? He growled. Oh, I do, she said. For the first time, I really do. Tessa whispered to me she came to help. She actually came to help. But I didn't understand. Why would she risk this? Why would she come here alone, knowing what he was capable of? Elle stopped a few feet from him. You're not touching her. Not again? Mark stepped toward her aggressively. And who's going to stop me? She didn't move back. You forgot something, she said, raising her phone. I sent the video to someone. Mark blinked. What? That video you thought you could scare me into deleting. Her voice shook with anger. I shared it. And not just with your wife. She looked at me. I sent it to the police. My breath caught. Tessa nearly gasped aloud. Mark went white, dead white. You do hate, he yelled, his voice echoing so loud the windows rattled. Elle didn't budge. You're not getting away with this, she said. Not the lying, not the cheating, not the threats, not the violence, not what you did to me, not what you did to her. He lunged toward her, but Tessa stepped forward with the knife. If you touch her, She warned. I swear to God. Put that down, Mark roared. Numpo, Tessa said it like a force of nature. And neither of you are leaving, Mark growled. Not until He didn't finish, because at that exact moment, police sirens wailed outside. Close, very close. Mark froze mid-breath. His eyes darted to the door. To Elle. To me? No, 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 he muttered, panic rising like fire. Elle spoke quietly. I didn't send them your address. Mark stopped, confused, angry, terrified. She continued, I sent the video to a police friend earlier today. I told him everything. He recognized your name. He already had a file on you. My skin prickled. A file? A file on him? What are you talking about? Mark snapped. That's a lie. There's no, Elle interrupted. He knows you. He knows what you've done. What other women have reported but never pursued because you manipulated them too. My stomach twisted so violently I nearly doubled over. Other women, other victims, other reports. Mark's voice cracked as he shouted, oop, oop. But Elle didn't. The police were already looking for you tonight, she said, for the assault, for the threats, for the property damage, for the stalking. That's impossible. Mark stuttered, backing away. It's not, she said coldly. Someone called them before me. I blinked. What? Elle turned to me. Her expression softened for the first time since she walked in. It was your neighbor. My lips parted. Me neighbor? Elle nodded. She heard him yelling. Saw him driving dangerously. Saw him pounding on your door. Tessa whispered, Mrs. Carter. Elle nodded again. She said she got a bad feeling. She gave the police your address. The sirens screeched louder, now directly outside the house. Red and blue lights flashed through the front windows, coloring the walls in violent streaks. Mark backed toward the hallway, shaking his head. No, this isn't happening. This isn't. A deep voice thundered from the doorway. Po I he Mark AVN step INTOTHE open YTHEUR science. Oh, he stiffened like a statue. Tessa gripped the knife tighter. Elle raised her phone higher. I just stood there, frozen. Mark's breathing turned rapid, frantic, like a trapped animal. No, he shouted. Why, oh, tenderize. This is MY house. It's my house, I said quietly. He turned toward me slowly. For the first time, he looked small, not powerful, not controlling, not dangerous, just small. You, he whispered. You did this. No, I said. You did. Another command boomed from outside. Mark EVN, hey, and Zup, no. Mark looked around wildly, sweat beading on his forehead. This isn't fair, he muttered. You were supposed to stay. You were supposed to lie, S10. You were supposed to survive, I whispered. His eyes widened. That's when the door burst open. 4 officers stormed in, guns drawn, vests on, flashlights cutting through the room. DROP, we can't see him. Mark lifted his hands slowly, shaking. I didn't do anything, he said, voice trembling. One officer replied coldly, we've seen the video. He froze completely. Another officer moved closer. You're under investigation for domestic violence, coercion, assault, intimidation, and multiple counts of harassment. Mark's mouth fell open. What video? He yelled. How old are you? Elle stepped forward. Mine. Mark stared at her with pure hatred. You betrayed me, he hissed. She didn't look away. You betrayed everyone. Officers grabbed his wrists, yanked them behind his back. He struggled. This tube! Don't touch me! This is a misunderstanding. Sir, do you know to resist? They forced him down, cuffing him tightly. He stared up at me from the floor. You did this, he whispered. You never loved me. You wanted to ruin me. I knelt down slightly, just enough for him to see the truth in my eyes. No, I said softly. You ruined yourself. Tears stung my eyes, not of heartbreak, of release. One officer pulled him up roughly. Mark's voice cracked as he screamed. She's lying! They beat her! Don't you see? I'm the victim here! I'm in TVT! No one listened. Not even the woman he cheated with, especially not me. They dragged him through the doorway as he kept shouting, voice fading into the night. T-I-S-I-S-N, Tova! I'll tell T-H-E, wretch! I-L. The police car door slammed shut. Silence finally filled the house. Deep, heavy, peaceful. For the first time in years, I felt safe. Elle lowered her phone. Tessa lowered the knife, and I lowered my guard. Just a little. Tessa turned to me. You're free, she whispered. But Elle stepped closer. No, she said softly. She's not yet. My chest tightened. Why not? I asked. She hesitated, then whispered, because there's something you still don't know. The house was silent after the police car pulled away. Silent, but not peaceful. Not after what Elle said. Tessa held my arm, breath trembling. What does she mean? What else is there? Elle didn't answer immediately. She walked slowly to the kitchen counter, the same spot where Tessa and I were moments away from breaking apart with fear. Her hands shook, not with weakness, but with something else. Dread. I didn't just come here because Mark threatened you, she said quietly, or because he cheated. I came because I realized something this week. Something I should have understood a long time ago. I exchanged a confused glance with Tessa. What did you realize? I asked. Elle looked at me, the woman who shared a husband with her, with an expression I didn't expect. Not hatred, not bitterness, not rivalry, grief. You and I, she said, voice cracking, were never the only ones. The room spun for a second. What? My voice came out thin. Tessa gasped softly. You mean? Elle nodded slowly. Yes. Mark wasn't cheating on you with me. He wasn't cheating on you with just one woman. He was cheating on both of us with multiple women. My breath vanished. I shook my head. No, that can't be right. Mark doesn't. But even as I said it, memories clawed their way back. Nights he came home later than late. Trips for work that didn't match his industry. Receipts in his pockets from places he swore he never went. His sudden need for privacy. His new password changes. The way he showered immediately after arriving home. Oh my God, I whispered. Elle walked toward the dining table and pulled out a folder. A thick folder, heavy. When he left for work one morning, she said, I forgot his spare phone, not the one he used with you, not the one he used with me, the THIRD one. My knees weakened. I gripped the back of a chair. He had a whole phone. I whispered, 4 for the other women. Elle opened the folder. Inside were printed screenshots, messages, photos, evidence. He had 3 relationships at once, she said. 3 separate lives, 3 women he manipulated into believing they were special, chosen, loved. Tessa let out a shaky breath. That's sick. Elle nodded. And that's not the worst part. She handed me the papers. My fingers trembled as I turned the first page. The messages weren't sweet or romantic. They weren't loving. They were controlling, threatening, violent. He used the same tactics on each woman. You're too emotional. No one will love you but me. If you leave, I'll ruin you. You belong to me. If you talk to anyone, I'll make you regret it. My stomach turned. He said that to me. I whispered. He said that to all of us. Elle replied. A shaky sound escaped my throat, a weird mix of disgust, anger, and heartbreak. But why? I asked. Why do all this? Why hurt so many women? What was he getting out of it? Elle hesitated, then said something that made my skin crawl. Control. I stared at her. Mark never cared about love, she said softly. Not yours. Not mine. Not theirs. He cared about control, about feeling powerful, superior, dominant. Tessa muttered under her breath. He's a monster. Elle swallowed. He targeted women who were isolated, women who were going through something, women who needed emotional support. That's how he found me, too. I was drowning after something traumatic. He saw a weakness. He used it. I felt a sharp stab in my chest. He married me, I whispered. Hey, he made vows. He built a life with me. Why do all that if? Elle interrupted quietly. Because you were the perfect cover. My heart cracked. You made him look stable. She continued. Responsible, normal. To the world, he was a dedicated husband with a beautiful home. No one would suspect what he really was doing. I sank into a chair. Tessa squeezed my shoulder gently, her voice shaking. Mom breathed. Elle stepped closer, kneeling to meet my eyes. There's more, she said softly. Something you need to know before the police dig it up. Something that explains why he panicked the moment I said I sent the video. My pulse hammered. What is it? I whispered. She looked at the floor, shame flickering across her face. He didn't just cheat on me, she said. He blackmailed me. What? I breathed. She nodded. He threatened to expose something private in my past, if I ever left, something I trusted him with, something I told him during a vulnerable moment. He weaponized it, used it to control me. Tessa whispered angrily, he did the same to Mom. Elle's eyes softened. I know, she said. The house felt colder now. Mark has a pattern, Elle continued. He picks women he thinks he can break. He tests their boundaries. He pushes. He controls. And when you push back, her words hung in the air. When you push back, she repeated, who becomes dangerous. A shiver ran down my spine. Elle wasn't finished. Yesterday, after that video call ended, he came to my place, furious, wild. He grabbed my arm so hard it bruised. He screamed that I ruined everything. He said I was supposed to be quiet, obedient, grateful. Tears filled my eyes. I put a hand over my mouth. Elle continued, voice unsteady. That's when I realized he wasn't just cheating on us. He wasn't just lying. He was capable of hurting someone very badly, maybe even worse. The room fell silent, heavy, full of dread, full of truth. So when he went after you tonight, she said, I knew exactly what he was planning to do. My breath caught. What was he planning? I whispered. Elle looked at me with eyes full of pity and warning. Not to talk, she said quietly. Not to apologize. Not to walk away. She swallowed hard. He came here tonight to silence you. A cold wave washed through my whole body. Tessa whimpered beside me. I felt dizzy, nauseous, like the room was spinning out of control. Then Elle whispered one final sentence. A sentence I will never forget. You didn't just escape a bad husband tonight. You escaped a man who was ready to end more than just your marriage. For a long moment, no one in the room spoke. Not me, not Tessa, not Elle. Her final sentence hung in the air like poisonous smoke. You escaped a man who was ready to end more than just your marriage. My pulse throbbed in my ears. My fingers went numb. The air felt too thick to breathe. My voice cracked. Mark wouldn't do something like that. But even I didn't believe my own words. Not anymore. Not after everything I'd heard. Not after seeing the fury in his eyes when I stood outside that other woman's house. Elle didn't respond with anger or judgment. She simply said, "He already tried." A chill stabbed through me. "What do you mean?" I whispered. She inhaled shakily, like she hated every word she was about to say. "Do you remember the night he brought you that glass of wine after one of your fights?" My stomach twisted. "Yes," I said slowly. "I remember." I fell asleep on the couch almost instantly. Elle nodded. "You didn't fall asleep," she whispered. "He drugged you." The world tilted. What are you talking about?" My voice sounded small. "Hollow?" Far away, Tessa stood, furious, protective, shaking. "No, absolutely not. My dad is many things, but he wouldn't drug." "Did Tessa?" Elle said firmly, looking her straight in the eyes. "I know the signs. I've seen them. I lived them." I shook my head. Memories surged back, too fast, too vivid. That night, the glass of wine, the sudden dizziness, the way the room blurred, Mark insisting I just needed rest. Waking up the next day with a headache so brutal it felt unreal. Him telling me I was overreacting, that I always forgot things. My breath trembled. "No," I whispered. No, that can't be." Elle stepped closer. "He did the same thing to me." The words hit like a punch to the chest. Tessa covered her mouth. "He gave me something after an argument." Elle continued. "A drink, just like you." I woke up hours later, confused, disoriented, in pain. When I confronted him, he told me I must have had too much. He said I was hysterical. He made me doubt my own memory. Tears pricked my eyes. Gaslighting, drugging, control, threats. This wasn't a cheating husband. This was something darker, something dangerous. "I think," Elle whispered, "he was conditioning us, testing how much control he had, testing how much he could get away with." Silence, horrifying, suffocating silence. Then Tessa spoke, voice barely a whisper. "So he really might have come here tonight too." Her voice broke. "To hurt my mom." Elle nodded slowly. "Yes, that's exactly why I came. Because once a man like Mark feels cornered, he doesn't try to salvage the relationship. He tries to eliminate the threat." My knees buckled. Tessa caught me. "No, Mom. Sit, breathe." I sank into the chair. My breath rattled. My vision blurred. I felt sick, angry, terrified, betrayed. I choked out. "How could he hate me so much?" "He doesn't hate you," Elle said softly. "He hates losing control. That's the only thing that truly enrages men like him." Her voice was gentle but full of truth. "And you took back control tonight when you confronted him," she said. "When you stood outside that house. When you didn't stay silent. That's what pushed him over the edge." Tessa clenched her fists. "So what do we do now? We can't just sit here waiting for him. He could come back. He could..." She stopped, swallowing hard, tears forming. Elle looked at both of us, steady, composed despite everything. "We'll protect ourselves," Elle said. "And we expose him." "How?" I whispered. Elle reached into her bag and pulled out something I didn't expect, another phone. Not hers, not mine. Mark's. My heart jumped. "How did you get that?" "When he came to my apartment earlier tonight," she said quietly. I threw it on the table when he started screaming. He was too angry to remember it. I grabbed it and ran. Tessa leaned closer. "So everything is in there." Elle nodded. "Everything, all his messages, his contacts, his threats, his plans, his third life, everything he thought he hid. A strange feeling washed over me, not fear, not yet hope, power. He ruined too many lives, Elle said. He hurt too many women, and he thinks he can erase us one by one. Well, she added, eyes hardening, he doesn't get to win. My voice trembled. What do we do first? Elle placed the phone in my shaking hands. We go through every message, every photo, every recording. We build a timeline. We file a joint report. We let the police know everything he has done. Tessa whispered. And we make sure he can never hurt anyone again. Elle nodded. But there's something else. She added, a truth I need you to understand. I looked up. What truth? She sat beside me, face softening. You are not weak, she said. You are not stupid. You are not to blame for any of this. A tear slipped down my cheek. You survived him, she whispered. And now you're going to end him. Something fierce ignited inside me. Maybe for the first time, I wiped my tears, straightened my back, looked at the phone in my hands. Okay, I whispered. Let's finish what he started. Elle smiled sadly, but then her expression shifted. Serious, alert, sharp. She looked toward the window. Wet, she whispered. My stomach dropped. Tessa froze. What is it? I breathed. Elle stood slowly, eyes narrowing, voice barely audible. I think someone's outside. For a moment, none of us moved. Not me, not Tessa. Not Elle, only silence filled the room, heavy, dense, trembling with danger. What do you mean someone's outside? Tessa whispered, gripping the edge of the table. Elle didn't answer. She stepped closer to the window, slow and careful, the way someone moves in a house they fear is being watched. She lifted a single finger to her lips. Shush. My pulse hammered, so loudly I could hear it echo in my ears. I forced myself to stand weakly and followed her gaze toward the front window. At first, I saw nothing but darkness. Then, a faint movement, a shadow shifting near the tree across the yard. Not wind, not an animal, a human shape. My breath caught in my throat. Tessa whispered, voice trembling, Mom, is that I couldn't answer. I leaned closer to the window, barely parting the curtain with her fingertips. For a second, just 1 second, we all saw it. A figure standing too still, too quiet, too intentional. Watching the house, watching us, I stumbled backward, hand over my mouth. No, I can't. It can't be him. But Elle grabbed my arm. It is. A tear broke down my cheek. Mark. He wasn't gone. He wasn't running. He wasn't afraid. He was waiting, hunting. Elle whispered urgently. He must have followed me here earlier. Or he came back for the phone. Either way, he knows we're together. Tessa's panic exploded. What do we do? Should we call the police? Should we hide? Should we... But Elle's voice cut sharply. No sudden movements. No lights. No noise. If he thinks we're panicking, he'll escalate. Her words chilled me. How do you know? I asked, shaking. Elle looked at me with an expression I hadn't seen before. Not fear. Experience. Because I've dealt with men like him, she said. Control is their oxygen. The moment you take it away, they suffocate. They do desperate things. A chill ripped through my spine. Outside, the shadow moved closer. Slow steps, deliberate steps. Closer, closer. I grabbed Tessa, pulling her behind me. My voice was barely a whisper. We're locked in, right? The doors, did we lock the doors? Tessa nodded quickly, eyes wide and wet. Yes, right after the police left. Good, Elle whispered. Good, that buys us time. But her eyes stayed fixed on the window. I watched her face. Suddenly, her expression changed. Fear sharpened into something else. Recognition. Wait, she whispered. That's not him. I blinked, stunned. What? What do you mean it's not him? But before LL could answer, the shadow stepped into a patch of pale moonlight, and my entire body jolted. It wasn't Mark. It was a man. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a dark hoodie pulled low over his face. But the posture, the way he scanned the yard, the slow, predatory walk, Elle inhaled shakily. It's him, she whispered. But not the him we thought. The other one, she breathed. I stared at her blankly. The other who? Elle swallowed hard, voice trembling for the first time all night. The man Mark works for. The room went absolutely still. I felt my heart stop. Mark works for someone, I whispered. Elle closed her eyes. Yes, the reason he had 3 phones. The reason he was so desperate to keep control. The reason he panicked when I said I contacted the police. Mark isn't the top of the chain. He's doing things for someone else. Someone worse. The air drained from my lungs. What things? Tessa asked, voice small. Elle hesitated, then said the words that made my knees buckle. Financial crimes, identity scams, blackmail networks. He recruits women, manipulates them, uses them. And then once they're controlled, he funnels their information to this man. That's why Mark targeted us. That's why he couldn't let any of us go. Tears blurred my vision. You mean we were resources, not people? Nodded painfully. And now that we have his phone, she looked toward the window. That man is here to take it back. Fear crashed over me. No, this can't be happening. But Elle grabbed my shoulders. Listen to me. We are in danger, real danger. But we're not helpless. We just need to stay calm and follow a plan. Outside, the man reached the edge of the porch, 1 step away from the door. Tessa whimpered. He's going to break in, Mom? What if he tries to? Elle silenced her with a whisper. Not yet. Men like him don't act without purpose. He's checking the house, checking if anyone is awake, checking if Mark is here. My throat tightened. Why would he think Mark is here? Elle's eyes flickered. Because I told Mark earlier, if he didn't confess, I'd take the phone to you. The realization hit. He thought Mark brought the phone HRE. He thought Mark was hiding at HRE. He wasn't here for us, he was here for Mark. Or for evidence. We need to call the police, Tessa whispered. But when I reached for my phone, Elle grabbed my wrist. No, Bo. I stared at her in disbelief. No! Why not? Her eyes locked onto mine. If he hears a ringtone, if he sees a glow from a screen, if he senses movement, he'll know we're inside. My blood ran cold. He'll come in, she added softly. We froze again as the man moved toward the side of the house, toward the windows. A creaking sound echoed outside. Floorboards. Heavy steps. He was checking for entry points. Mom, Tessa whispered, voice breaking. I wrapped my arms around her. Elle pressed a finger to her lips again. We waited, breathless, terrified, listening to the slow, predatory footsteps circling the house. Minutes crawled by like hours. Then, a faint metallic sound. Click, click. He was trying the back door. My stomach dropped. He's going to get in, I whispered. Elle's expression hardened. No, not if we stop him first. She reached into her bag and pulled out something I never imagined she'd have. A small, silver stun gun. My eyes widened. Tessa, Elle whispered, turn off every light. Move to the hallway. Stay behind your mother. But what about you? I croaked. Elle exhaled. Someone has to distract him until help arrives. But we can't call. We can, she whispered, Just not from here. She pointed to the window. He jammed the signal. My heart stopped. He mooked. It cut off the cellular signal. It's a trick criminals use when they think someone might call the police. I felt dizzy. Then, how do we get help? Elle looked toward the back door, then toward me, then toward the kitchen. There's only one way. Her voice dropped into a whisper filled with fear and bravery. We have to get to the neighbor's house before he gets inside, before he finds us, before everything comes crashing down. We have to get to the neighbor's house. The words sounded insane. There was a dangerous stranger outside, circling my home like a wolf, and Elle was suggesting we go out there. Tessa shook her head, panicking. No way. We can't go outside. Are you crazy? Elle stayed calm. If we stay, we're trapped, she whispered. He has time. He can break a window, force a door, cut the power, come in however he wants. And we have no signal in here. She pointed toward the back door. If we move fast and stay low, we can get across the yard before he reaches this side again. My voice trembled. How do you know he'll circle back and not just wait there? Because he's looking for something, Elle said. Not us. The phone. He'll keep checking every entrance until he finds a way in. That gives us a gap, a small one, but it's all we have. Tessa grabbed my hand so tight it hurt. I don't like this, she whispered. Neither do I admitted. Elle moved toward the hallway, motioning for us to follow. Turn off every light, she repeated. Why need darkness? If he thinks the house is empty, he'll take his time. That's when we move. Tessa quickly flicked off the switches while Elle peered through the side window again. The house fell into a thick, eerie dimness. Only faint moonlight slipped in through the curtains. We stood in silence, listening, waiting. The footsteps outside moved again, slow, methodical, first toward the front, then past the window, then toward the opposite side. Each step felt like a countdown. Elle whispered, when you get to Mrs. Carter's house, ring the bell and don't stop until she opens. Tell her to call the police. Tell her everything. Do not come back here until it's safe. My throat tightened. What about you? Elle glanced at the back door. I'll stay here. If he gets in, I'll stall him. Tessa shook her head violently. No, absolutely not. You came here to help us. You can't be the one who... But Elle cut her off with a small, sad smile. I've lived with this fear longer than you think, she said. I spent months pretending I wasn't scared of him, pretending I could handle it. Tonight, I'm done pretending. Tessa's eyes filled with tears. Why are you doing this for us? She whispered. Elle glanced between us. Because I should have done it for myself a long time ago. That hit me like a punch to the chest. I stepped forward and gripped her hand. You're not alone anymore, I whispered. If you stay, I stay. Tessa straightened. Then so do I. Elle exhaled, frustrated, but also moved. Stubborn, she muttered. You two are impossible. Then she nodded. Fine. We move together, but we move smarty. She checked the window one last time. The shadow was gone from the back. He'd moved again toward the front or side. This is it, she whispered. This is our window. She turned to us, voice low but firm. Shoes off. No noise, no talking. When I open the door, we run to the left, straight to the fence, then along the hedge to Mrs. Carter's garden gate. Do not break formation. Tessa, you go in the middle. Your mom and I on either side. Tessa nodded, trembling. I swallowed hard. My feet felt glued to the floor, but I forced them to move. Elle wrapped her fingers around the back door handle. We all held our breath. She counted silently with her lips. 1, 2, 3. The door opened with a soft click. Cold air rushed in, smelling like damp grass and fear. "Go," she mouthed. We slipped outside barefoot, silent, shadows moving through shadows. The night felt too loud. Every rustle of leaves sounded like sirens. Every breath like an alarm. We moved quickly across the small patch of lawn behind the house. Tessa's hand crushed mine. Elle stayed slightly ahead, scanning around us like a trained lookout. No movement, no voice, no shadow. For a moment, I thought maybe he left. Maybe he gave up. Maybe a crunch. A single sharp crunch of gravel. From the side of the house. Close. We froze. Elle's hand shot up. Stop. We ducked behind the hedge line dividing my yard from Mrs. Carter's. Peering through a gap in the leaves, I saw him again. The man in the dark hoodie. He was by my back steps now, looking at the door we had just slipped through. My lungs constricted. If we had waited 30 seconds more, we would have run directly into him. He checked the handle. Locked. He scanned the windows. He listened. Then he stepped back and pulled something out of his pocket. A thin metallic tool. My blood ran cold. He's going to pick the lock, Tessa mouthed. I'll bit her lip. Good, she whispered. That buys us more time. Let's move. We crept along the hedge, keeping low, staying hidden. The distance from my house to Mrs. Carter's had never felt so long. 10 steps. 20. 30. Behind us, faint metal clicks echoed in the night as he worked on the door. I didn't look back. Couldn't. All I focused on was the worn wood of Mrs. Carter's garden gate. Finally, we reached it. Elle gently turned the latch. It creaked loudly. Too loudly. The metal whine sliced through the air like a scream. We all froze. The clicking at my back door stopped. Silence. Horrible, dangerous silence. Then his voice cut through the darkness. Deep. Cold. Close. I know you're out there. Tessa choked back a sob. Elle yanked the gate open. Gio! She hissed. We sprinted into Mrs. Carter's yard, feet pounding the grass. Lights off. Curtains drawn. Ring it, ring it, Elle urged as we reached the back door. I hammered my fist against the glass. Mrs. Carter, please. It's me. Open up, please. Please. No answer. Again, Elle whispered urgently. We banged harder. Hands, fists, desperation. Finally, a soft shuffling sound. The curtains twitched. A face appeared behind the glass, wrinkled, wide-eyed, confused. She unlocked the door slowly. Good heavens, what on earth? No time, Elle said, slipping inside. Lock it. Now. All locks, all bolts. Do you have a chain? Use it. Mrs. Carter fumbled with the locks, startled by the urgency, but doing as she was told. What's happening? She whispered. Is it your husband again? The police took him, I saw. It's not him. I panted, still trying to catch my breath. It's someone worse. We all turned toward her landline. Tessa, Elle said, pointing. Phone. Call 911, tell them everything. Tell them he's here. Tell them we have Mark's phone, and there's another man looking for it. Tessa grabbed the phone with shaking hands and dialed. Outside, across the hedge, a dull bang echoed. He was in my house now? My stomach twisted. Hello? Tessa stammered when the operator picked up. We were in danger. There's a man in the neighboring house. He's looking for something. He was working with someone you just arrested. His name is Mark. My dad, there's evidence on his phone. Please send officers now. Elle took the phone gently. This is an emergency escalation, she said clearly, her voice steady. Suspected organized criminal activity. The suspect is currently inside the residence at 42 Maple Lane. We are at 44 Maple, neighbor's house. We have critical digital evidence. We need immediate assistance. Possible armed suspect. Please notify the officers handling the earlier domestic arrest on Mark Davin. They will know the case. The operator's tone shifted instantly. Yes, Mom. Stay inside. Keep all doors locked. Officers are on the way. Do not attempt to engage. Elle hung up, finally letting herself exhale. For a moment, the room was quiet. Then something shattered. A loud crash from my house. He'd broken something. Maybe a table. Maybe a shelf. Maybe a door. My heart ached. He was ripping through my life. Literally. Will he come here? Mrs. Carter whispered, trembling. Elle glanced at the window, then at us. If he realizes we're not in that house. But the phone isn't either. Maybe. But we have an advantage now. What advantage? I asked. We're not alone anymore? As if on cue, distant sirens wailed again. Closer. Faster. This time, we weren't trapped. We had witnesses. We had the recording. We had Mark's phone. We had a second suspect. And we had each other. For the first time since this nightmare began, I didn't feel like prey. I felt like someone who fought back. The sirens grew louder. Not distant, not slow, but fast, urgent, like the city itself was racing to our rescue. Inside Mrs. Carter's living room, we stayed low to the ground, hearts pounding, breaths uneven. She kept whispering prayers under her breath. Tessa clung to my arm. Elle positioned herself between us and the window, stun gun still in her hand. We waited, every second stretched like a lifetime. Then FLOSIGIGHTS, red, blue, red. They bounced off the walls, washing over us like a wave of salvation. He's still in there, Elle whispered, peering through the curtain. A loud voice echoed through the night. T-I-S-T, policy! Kuam O-U-T-Y-T-H-U-R, Hans up you. A crash sounded from my kitchen, then the slam of a back door. Heavy footsteps pounding through grass. His running, Elle said. And then shouts, footsteps, a scuffle, a guttural yell, then silence. For a long stretch, we stared at one another, frozen. Finally, the doorbell rang. We all jumped. It's okay, Elle said softly. That's them? Mrs. Carter unlocked the door, and two officers stepped inside, tense but controlled. Mom, you're safe now? One said. We have the suspect in custody. My knees nearly gave out with relief. Tessa sobbed and hugged me, and I held her tight, letting her shake. Hey, he wasn't looking for us, right? She asked through tears. The officer exchanged a look with his partner. Mom, the man we caught had a knife. He said quietly, I wasn't here for a conversation. My blood went cold. He would have killed Mark to retrieve the evidence. He would have killed us if we had gotten in the way. So, what happens now? I whispered. The officer nodded toward Elle. Well, thanks to the witness who handed us this. He lifted the phone Elle had given him. We just unlocked a network we've been trying to crack for over a year. Elle exhaled shakily, some of the tension finally melting from her shoulders. The officer continued, There are messages, transaction logs, threats, identities. This isn't just a cheating husband case. This is organized crime. Your husband isn't the mastermind, but he's a major participant. The word stung. My husband, the man I built a life with, the man I trusted, the man who swore he loved me. He was part of something evil. Is he going to prison? I asked softly. Yes, the officer said. Both of them will. For a long time. Tessa let out a long breath. Good, she whispered. Good. Another officer approached me directly. Ma'am, I need to ask. Did you feel unsafe with your husband before tonight? Did he ever threaten you? My mouth opened, then closed again, because suddenly it all became clear. The fear, the manipulation, the drug drink, the sudden anger, the tracking, the lies, the cheating, the disappearing money, the secret phone. How many warnings had I ignored? How many signs had I buried under excuses? Finally, I whispered, yes, for a long time. The officer nodded as if he'd been expecting that answer. We're filing a protective order immediately. He won't come near you again. Tessa squeezed my hand. Elle placed a warm palm on my shoulder. You're safe now, she whispered. It didn't feel real. Not yet. But for the first time in years, I believed her. Onenuike Latar, my house, was quieter than ever. Police tape still hung from the gate. Boxes sat waiting to be moved. Tessa stayed with me through everything, packing, cleaning, crying, processing. I wasn't the same woman who once waited anxiously for her husband to come home. I was someone else now, someone stronger, someone awake, someone free. The doorbell rang, interrupting my thoughts. Tessa called from the living room. Mom, someone's here for you. I opened the door. Elle stood there holding 2 coffees and wearing a soft, hopeful smile. I thought you might need this, she said. I stepped out and hugged her, really hugged her. Thank you, I whispered, for everything. You saved yourself, she said gently. I just pointed at the door. We sat on the porch steps like old friends. How are you holding up? She asked. I looked out at the street. Bright, calm, safe. I'm healing, I said, slowly, but I'm getting there. She nodded. And Mark? I asked softly. Elle shrugged. He's already talking, trying to minimize his role, trying to blame everyone but himself. Men like that don't change. But he won't hurt anyone again. A long silence passed. Then I asked the question that had been gnawing at me. Why did he choose us? You and me, Elle sighed. Because women like us, we forgive too easily. We love too loyally. We ignore red flags because we believe people can be better. She turned to me. But now, you're not that woman anymore. No, I said, a small fire warming inside me. I'm not. And what will you do next? She asked. For the first time since everything happened, the answer came easily. Live, I said, simply. Live without fear. Live without apologizing. Live without a man who needed to destroy me to feel powerful. Elle smiled. I like that. I looked at her. What about you? What happens now? She exhaled, her gaze soft. I'm testifying, she said. And after that, maybe I'll finally start my life over. I think I deserve that too. I touched her hand gently. We both do. T-S-C-E-V-N-G. As I closed the curtains, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. For a split second, fear shot through me. But the message was simple. You survived the worst of him. Now give yourself the best of you. From a support advocate assigned to my case. I pressed a hand to my heart. I wasn't alone. Not anymore. For the first time in so long, I wasn't scared of the doorbell. I wasn't scared of the shadows. I wasn't scared of being alone. I had escaped a man who meant to destroy me and walked straight into a life where I finally belonged to myself. And I knew one thing for certain. This was not the end of my story. It was finally the beginning.